Captain's Log 2345.5. The survivors of a shuttlecraft crash on the planet Yanda Teredo gather around a fire, finishing off the body of Ensign Pavel Chekhov, as his flesh roasts over the red-hot glowing coals in the dim light of dusk. For 3 weeks, Kirk, Spock, Scott, and McCoy have staved off starvation, picking off one crew member at a time. But now, time is running out. Water is available in the replicator, but the carbon stores were damaged in the accident, rendering food replication impossible. Chekhov was the 4th crew member served up and the last non-commissioned officer aboard. Without refrigeration, Chekhov's body will last one more day. Now what? McCoy asked. I'll take off before any of you tries to eat me. The distress call reached Starbase 3 weeks ago. We should be rescued any day, Kirk replied. At Warp 10, it would take Starfleet 2 days to reach us, 5 at the most. What do you think they're going to do with us when they find out we ate 4 of our crew? McCoy asked. Give us all medals and a ticker tape parade for surviving on this crap hole planet, Kirk replied. Nobody will care. I'm sure Chekhov's family will care, McCoy said, looking up at the body rotating on the spit. McCoy jabbed at the carcass with a stick and tore off a piece of Chekhov and ate it. He followed with a gulp of water. There's nothing you can do now, Scott said, and for one, I'd rather be alive than dead. What are you going to say when they ask how we decided who lived and who was lunch? McCoy asked. We didn't exactly ask for volunteers. They don't know that, and you don't have to tell them, Kirk replied. We say they were injured in the crash and didn't recover. That might work for you, me, and Scott, but not Spock. The Vulcans don't lie, and he won't go with the story. Right, Spock? McCoy asked. Vulcans are compelled to tell the truth, Spock said, but under extenuating circumstances, we have been known to bend the truth, Spock said. Is this one of those extenuating circumstances? McCoy asked. I would say so, Spock replied. I would hope so. You seemed to enjoy Chekhov more than we did, McCoy replied. Scott spoke up. What if Starfleet takes longer than 2 days? Kirk shook his head and looked up at Scott. I guess we draw straws. Or someone volunteers, Kirk replied. That's more than we offered our crew. Volunteer my ass, Scott yelled. You won't get me on that. He added as he reached for his phaser. They all had one. Then I guess we all starve and die, Kirk said with a smile. What else can we do? What else can we do? Scott replied. I, for one, am not going to worry about getting off this rock. I know Starfleet will pick us up and save us. Probably before you know it, Kirk said, poking the fire with a stick. The smoke drifted in the air and blew with the wind. We should do something with the remains, Spock said. Tradition says we should respect the dead. They'll just dig them up anyway and give the bodies to the families. Waste of time and energy. We need to conserve our energy. Technically, we can live 30 days without eating, McCoy said. Are you serious? Scott asked. We didn't have to kill anyone? Why didn't you say something earlier? I'm not in charge, McCoy stated. You're the medical officer. You should have said something. We didn't have to kill 4 crew members, you sick bastard, Scott said. And Spock, you knew as well. You're the science officer. It is true we could survive 30 days without food, but it is best that we eat if food is available. Without proper nutrition, we would become weak, our mental capacity would fluctuate, and our chance for overall survival would diminish, Spock replied. We made the best choice for our situation and for our survival. Do you hear what you're saying? Scott asked. We murdered 4 people. I don't think murder is the best choice of words, Spock replied. Reallocation of resources would be more accurate. They don't hang people for reallocation of resources. They hang them for murder, Scott said, shaking his head. 6 of one, half a dozen of another, Kirk said smugly. Nobody's going to charge us for anything. Don't get your panties in a bunch, engineer. Scott stood up and drew his phaser. I'm not going down for something that was out of my control. I would never have killed or eaten any of our crew if I knew I could survive for 30 days. Sit down and shut up, Kirk said, unless you want to be next. Oh, don't worry. I won't be next, Scott said. He shot his phaser at Chekhov, knocking his body onto the coals, kicking up black smoke. I'm the one holding all the cards. McCoy pulled his phaser and shot Scott in the leg, knocking him over. Kirk reached over and pulled Scott's phaser from his hand. I told you to sit down, Kirk said smugly. Just then, a signal came over the shuttle speaker. It was Starfleet Command pinging an incoming message. See, Kirk said, all of our problems are solved. We'll be off this rock in no time. What about Scott? Spock asked. Kirk shot Scott in the head so he wouldn't talk, and soon the crew was rescued. And today we have Scotty, and we have Kirk, and we have Mr. Spock. They were all in today's fan fiction story, and I hope you enjoyed it. Ring-a-ding the bell if you want to hear more of these, because if you ring the bell, you'll be posted when they show up. He fell down. Fan fiction is my thing. I'm up to like 14 of these now. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a fun one, a little bit morbid, but hey, we need to get off the beaten path and do some new stuff. Ready? Thank you.